Welcome to Point Blank, brought to you by Fitz Roofing. I'm Brandon Stranger Sports Map Houston. That guy right there, he's Joel Blank of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. If you have not yet, please hit subscribe on the channel. We do appreciate it. Like our videos, comment below, tell us if we're doing a good job. Joel, welcome in. I wanted to talk to you this week because social media started buzzing early in the week. Rockets' Kevin Porter Jr. started following Jalen Green on Instagram and then subsequently jumped on Jalen Green's Instagram Live. Their short interaction makes it obvious that there's some mutual respect between these guys. This got a lot of these Rockets beat writers speculating on what a backcourt could look like with KPJ and Jalen Green back there. What do you think about that kind of a backcourt?
I think it's potent. I think that a lot of time would be needed before you could tell exactly what you were getting out of it. I think there's a lot of good combinations based on the top draft picks and the existing players on the Rockets roster, but nothing's more intriguing than those two because we already know that not only can KPJ handle the basketball and distribute the basketball, but he can score. And if you got a 50 piece before the end of the season, I don't care if it was against the best competition or the worst, it was in the NBA, that means you can put the ball in the basket. And if you got another guy that a lot of people said has the most star power of anybody at the top of this draft, and you put him in the same backcourt, it's a chance worth taking. But as we've talked about in the past, Rafael Stone might be thinking about the best case scenario for him keeping his job for the long haul, and that would mean a guy that's more ready to play immediately so that they don't have the worst record in the league 2 years in a row. And therefore, you might be looking at other combinations where you get a player more NBA ready, but he might not be ready to be the long-term solution the Rockets need.
Now, up until this point, the consensus has been that a guy like Jalen Green would be available at the number 2 spot because everyone assumes Cade Cunningham goes at 1. But we found out this week that might not be the case, and let's talk about that. But first, tell us about Houston's number 1 draft pick for home repair, Fitz Roofing.
We love Fitz Roofing. And look, they used to be, like the name says, Fitz Roofing. Now they do so much more. As you mentioned, it's all about home repairs as well. They could put a fence in your yard. They could do something in and fix some of the home repairs in your attic or other parts of your house. And the best part about it is it starts with a free, no obligation inspection. All you do is pick up the phone. You call 832-521-3001. They come to you. They tell you what they can do, and it costs you nothing. You want them to come back? Book that appointment. Make sure that you get that deal done. And then before, during, and after the sale, the best customer service in the business. It's Fitz Roofing, making a difference one home at a time.
So NBA insider Sam Vecenie of The Athletic had an interesting report this week about Jalen Green. He's saying that despite everyone projecting Cade Cunningham to be the number 1 overall pick, he's hearing from his sources, and multiple sources at that the Pistons, who own that number 1 pick, are really high on Jalen Green. If Cade Cunningham falls to number 2, does that mean the Rockets are drafting him?
It's exactly what should happen and exactly what the Rockets should do. But there's also rumors out there that that the Rockets general manager, Rafael Stone, is very much enamored with Mobley from USC more than either of the other 2 guys. If you look at a guy like Green and his upside is that big, and teams like Detroit are willing to wait because they also have a lot of other young, raw, talented players that they figure they could put Green into the middle of the mix with all the other young kids that they have. They all develop at the same time. They all grow up together. And now you've got another reincarnation of the Pistons championship teams that had all those talented guys that they had. That's what they're looking for. They're not in a big hurry. The Rockets may be, and that could be to their detriment instead of to their benefit.
If the Rockets were to draft Mobley, what does that look like alongside Christian Wood?
I think they'd look at it and say that, you've got 2 guys now that are the new day and age of NBA big men, which is athletic, able to guard multiple positions, interchangeable at the 5 and the 4, and they can feed off of each other in terms of long wingspans, blocking shots, rebounding, and running the floor. Wood's already a good spot-up shooter. Mobley's a really good ball handler, but probably has to work on his face-up shot a little bit. But you've got 2 guys that you could develop for the next couple of years, assuming Wood wants to stay, and you could develop your backcourt of the future, your front court of the future, and worry about the fact that, you'll need a backcourt player, but you already, as you mentioned, have KPJ, who can play both the point guard and the shooting guard, and you've got other pieces that are going to be rotational to where maybe that's where you feel like you're advancing sooner because of the big men that you have that a lot of teams in the league don't have to play the style of play you want to play.
You've got a new GM that's taken over. He's inexperienced. He's trying to make a name for himself. The consensus is number 1, Cade Cunningham, and he falls to 2, and the Rockets don't draft him. What kind of backlash does he face?
Huge. Huge, because of the fact that he said he wants to build his team around 6-7 players that are multidimensional, that can play multiple positions, that can play the style of play the NBA is playing these days. So he fits right into all those categories. He checks every box. You don't know if he has the thing that I question, which is his killer instinct, but because the consensus is of draft experts and otherwise, he is the number one pick. If you pass on him, there will be a backlash. There will be hell to pay if it doesn't pan out. And for a guy that's been hyper protective of, don't judge me on the Harden trade till 2030. Don't judge me on the draft this year because it's hit or miss and it's as much about luck as anything else. He's been trying to make sure that he's safe and secure. This one would really ruffle the feathers of everybody from ownership to the fan base to everyone in between.